Hi and welcome to Geek Legion of Doom. This is going to be a B-movie review. We're going to be having a look at State of Emergency today. So at first glance, State of Emergency appears to be a zombie film. And it kind of is, but it depends on if you're a purist, you may argue it's not strictly a zombie film any much more than 28 Days Later was. So basically, what I mean by that is the premise is there's some sort of toxin released via an explosion at a chemical plant, and it turns people into some kind of zombie creature. Now, what I mean by that is you don't actually know if these people are dead and have, are reanimated corpses actually like zombies, or whether they're just infected people who have zombie-like symptoms like 28 Days Later. The film never actually clarifies that at any point, so you don't actually know if these people are alive and potentially could be cured, or whether they're actually, walking dead or what have you. So that's my first issue with the film. The second thing is the film is very, very small scale. Now, it's obviously a very low budget film and has limited scope, but it is a very, very small film. The action takes place primarily in a warehouse, where I'd say about 80% of the film actually happens, with a few scenes happening outside. The principal cast is very small. It really is 4 people with a few sort of extras as kind of like zombies or soldiers or what have you. So, it is a very small scale. Now, the interesting thing here is depending on what version you're looking at. If you're in the UK, the cover of this film looks like it's going to be a fantastic special effects laden zombie fest. It isn't. The US cover is probably a lot more true to what the actual film is. If I can find images, I'll try and put them both out on this video so you can see what I mean. Now, the film is probably more of a drama, really, that happens over the sort of course of some sort of zombie outbreak. Now, it's certainly not in the film. The zombie outbreak, and I'm just going to call it zombies for the sake of this review, but obviously you'll get what I mean. So the zombie outbreak is actually only limited to one state where this explosion has happened, hence the title. So it's certainly not a worldwide phenomenon or anything like that. But it's really having a look at I would say, the people's behaviour and what people have to go through if this actually thing happens. Now, because it is a chemical leak, or a viral infection or whatever it is, again, you're not explained why these 4 people haven't been affected, whilst it appears everyone has. There's actually a line in the film where they actually ask that question, but it's never actually answered. And you don't know if people are coming back from the dead or what. There's a scene early on where one of the main characters' girlfriend gets killed. Sorry, it's earlier in the film, so it's really not a spoiler. And she doesn't come back from the dead, so, again, it begs the question of are these zombies, or are they sort of just infected people? There's a shot sort of in a flashback where one of the characters, the main character, sees his first zombie, and it's a woman who sort of turns around. She's got sort of half her face missing, kind of like her sort of skull sort of protruding. So that really looks like a zombie to me. But that's really the only time that I would say it looks like a zombie. And I have to say, on a side note, the special effect on that is pretty rubbish, to be honest with you. She has a completely straight line down her face, with one side being normal and then the other side being sort of zombified, and it is literally a dead straight line. It looks like Two-Face. So, and the rest of the sort of zombie makeup just looks like sort of dirty people with sort of blood on them and contacts. Then another issue I had, there's some logic issues in this film, is that the characters make some illogical decisions to me. So, and what I mean by this is there's quite a few instances where they have some sort of item and they put it down and run off, and where would and really they need to bring it with them. So the first thing is initially you have all these helicopters going over and stuff, and this guy wants to sort of try and get their attention, so he puts his lamp down inside the building, runs outside, and is trying to wave these helicopters down in the dark. And there's another instance where 2 of the characters are going outside and they leave their guns out, inside the building, and run out unarmed, basically. And obviously there's kind of zombies out there. And again, another character, one of the characters, hits a zombie over the head with an axe, and then just leaves the axe in the guy's head. So you know, there's some kind of like logic there that I just don't really understand. I mean, you could argue obviously that panic, you might kind of, you know, not be thinking about stuff like that, but it just seems to be a little bit too consistent to have it always happening. The other thing as well is for no explanation, one of the zombies actually talks and actually is answering questions, but that's the only one. There's only one that does that. So again, it's just inconsistent, and there's no explanation given. So there's some proper plot holes in here for me, and sort of some bad scripting. The one thing I would say, I think the acting is fairly solid. I mean, it's a cast of unknowns, but I was happy with the acting, to be fair. I mean, there's only a small cast, but they all seem to be fairly natural to me, and kind of come across maybe like genuine people, just, you know, talking about chores and stuff like that. So to me, I thought the acting was fairly good. I mean, maybe not Oscar worthy, but certainly acceptable for this sort of style of film. Now, because it is so small scale, you never actually see more than one zombie on screen at any one time. So it's kind of a little bit of a disappointing film if you're kind of looking for action. And again, they have some cheesy moments. There's literally a scene where there's a noise and it happens to be a cat and things like that, and then he turns around and there's a zombie behind him, stuff like that. So some sort of cheap scares, but overall it's a fairly I would kind of dismiss this film as really not really worth watching for the most part. There's certainly, I mean, there's a lot of zombie films available, so if you push for time, certainly don't waste your time on this one. This film, I'm only going to give it a 3 out of 10 because I really didn't think it was a particularly good zombie film or a good film in general, to be honest with you. Okay, the acting was okay, but other than that, I really didn't get much from it. So if you haven't seen it, let me know what you think. Leave me a comment, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for watching.